Oh, Steve White, Trek Y89 for Steve Arts 89. Well, I just did a video about Star Trek. Actually, no, it's probably a couple of days now by the time I put this up. Not doing a lot to promote Star Trek Strange New Worlds new season premiering, but then as soon as I put that up, they did a bunch of interviews and put up clips and everything all on trekmovie.com and the official YouTube site and everything. I'm like, damn. Fine, I'll put the other one up and then just talk about the new stuff like, it's just come out. Because it has just come out. And one of the things I wanted to talk about, I wanted to do separate videos, one about the interviews, one about the clips, and one about the other promotions. But it started to get a bit complicated with how they're continuing on and what they're suggesting for the end of the series. So I'm just going to do a separate video now about what the actor playing Kirk said and what Akiva Goldsman said about where the series is ending. The series is ending with Kirk taking command of the Enterprise. Now, that's not a huge surprise. We did sort of see that coming, and some people are bothered by that because they feel like that's encroaching on the original Star Trek series. Number one, it's a different universe, a different timeline. They don't acknowledge the different universe, but they do acknowledge a different timeline now. I don't care. It's a reboot. This is not the same Kirk that is in the original series. They want us to think that for some reason. They want fans to think that for some reason because they think it will undermine these new characters for them to be reboot characters and for it to be a reboot show. But that's what it is, and they should be promoting it like, we've got a reboot, it's better than the original series. That's what they should have done. It wouldn't be true, but that's the way they should have gone. Instead of acting like, no, this is the same characters. This is the same crew. Even though the ship's different, the costumes are different, the actors don't act like... It's just trying to gaslight fans into saying, no, this is the original series. When this series ends, the next day, it's where no man has gone before. It was ridiculous that they even tried to do that. And it just shows what little respect they had for Star Trek fans at the time. That they thought the ones they were trying to attract to the show were stupid enough to actually believe that and not get that that's what they were doing. So that's a big, huge drama on its own. But that sort of was kind of over when they acknowledged that, yes, it's a different timeline. So none of that matters anymore. It doesn't have to be the same Kirk that was in When No Man's Gone Before. It doesn't have to be the same Spock that was in the cage and When No Man's Gone Before in the Corbomite Maneuver. It's fine. I don't care. I'm not bothered anymore by the canon issues with Star Trek because they've acknowledged it's a different timeline, vaguely acknowledged it's a different universe with that scene from Lower Decks, which they did as a joke, not realising that they were establishing it as canon. Like, it's a joke to them, but it's actually not canon and not real and not actually the real circumstance. They just thought, we'll just do that for fun. We'll just acknowledge that as a joke. And they didn't realise how much that would actually screw them over. So they did that, and that's where they're at with that. But they're talking about how they want to go into the original series era now. And Paul Wesley did an interview where he was saying, look, my Kirk isn't where Kirk is at, but you're going to start to see in this season, season 3, some signs of the OG Kirk, and you're going to realise that, he's becoming that. And that's what Kurtzman seems to think New Trek is. Becoming Star Trek, not just more Star Trek, just becoming. It's like they seem to think there's some artistic merit to regressing all these characters and then building them up to where they were, like that's some sort of achievement, like, look, it took 5 seasons to get where Kirk was at the first episode of the original series, when we could have just had 5 seasons of Kirk being awesome like he was in the original series. No, we introduced him halfway through the series, and then by the end of the series, he's where he was at the start. And yes, people develop and grow, but they don't turn into totally different people. And that's not necessarily Star Trek's story. Star Trek's story was never getting to that better future. It was, we're there, we're living in it. And you get to see that, and we get to take you into that world, and you get to see how that would be to be in that world and be able to go out and explore without our baggage. And that's not what New Trek is, unfortunately. That's just not the way they see Star Trek. They see themselves as getting to that point, and that's the story. Humanity struggled to get somewhere as opposed to just being there and then what happens next. So he talked about how the end of the season will be his first day in command, which is not the first episode of the original Star Trek. The original Star Trek, Kirk has been in command for at least a few months, and then there's a year between Where No Man's Gone Before and the Corbomite Maneuver. So we're picking up on Star Trek in the second year of the 5-year mission in the first year of the season. And considering the seasons sort of run over like 2 years, so a 3-year season runs over 4 years. Starts in one year and ends in another year each year. So There's always been some debate, was the end of the third season the fourth season, or the fourth or the fifth year of the original show? I'd like to think it's the fifth, but if it's the fourth, then the animated series is the fifth. So we sort of got the whole 5 years of the show, of the mission covered in the 3 and 4 years of the actual production of the original Star Trek and the animated series, because of that 1 year leap, and also because When No Man Has Gone Before starts into Kirk's mission. So there's some leeway there where they're not actually crossing over into the actual original series. So I don't care, it's fine. But he does establish that that is what they're doing. And it was nice for them to admit that's what they're doing. But it was obviously they were going to go in that area. But I just want to talk about that for a minute. Feel free to share, like, comment, subscribe, maybe ding the bell, look at my channel for other videos on Star Trek or subjects you're interested in. Because YouTube won't be putting them on your page, on your in your feed. So, yep. We'll see how it all goes with Season 3.